Welcome to Who Knew. We are fans of the current series of Doctor Who, and on this podcast, we discuss our likes, dislikes, and insights of the modern
regeneration of the show. Hello, everyone. This is Brian, and this is going to be a special mini episode of Who Knew podcast. First of all, let's go around the room and see who's here.
Hello, it's Frank.
Hello, this is Eugene.
This is Arlene.
Josh.
Hi, this is Auburn.
Kelsey here.
And this is Brian. We're going to call this special segment of Who Knew Podcast, we're going to make this just a quick trip in the Tardis. And today we're going to be discussing the Children in Need special. This is a 7-minute mini episode written by Russell Davis and directed by Euros Lynn that aired on November 18th, 2005 during the charity broadcast Children in Need. Children in Need is a BBC-owned charity that helps the lives of disabled children in the UK. The special opens by showing the last moments of the parting of the ways and the 9th Doctor's regeneration. Rather than ending with the 10th Doctor saying Barcelona, this special continues the scene with the 10th Doctor commenting on his new body, noticing his full head of hair, sideburns, and a mole between his shoulder blades. He then asks for Rose's opinion, but she is scared and is convinced that this is not the Doctor. She demands the imposter bring back the real Doctor. He reassures her that he is the Doctor, and he tells her of the first word he ever spoke to her in the basement of the department store. Run. Rose asks him if he can change back. He tells her that he can't. He asks her then if she wants to leave the TARDIS, and she doesn't have an answer right away. Instead of Barcelona, he sets the coordinates of the TARDIS to Christmas Eve at the Powell Estates. Before they arrive, the Doctor has a seizure and regenerative energy spills out of his mouth. He tells Rose that something has gone wrong with his regeneration. He begins to get manic and randomly throws switches on the console. He wants to go faster and rip through the time vortex. Rose yells that he is going to kill them, and he gleefully tells her to hold on tight. Doctor Who will return in the Christmas Invasion. So this is a 7-minute episode. So we figured that we would just make a little mini episode and just discuss what we thought of this. Any comments?
Yeah, this is the first time that we get David Tennant's credits full on in ever, like in the beginning.
Did he have any credit on the last episode?
I don't think he did.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
But not in the beginning?
At the end of Parting of the Ways, Christopher Eccleston has the top of the end credits.
Oh, I meant the one with the vortex,
Right.
that credit.
The main
that's what
credits.
talking about, yeah. And I think it's interesting how they edited down the regeneration scene.
Yeah, it's really not a recap. It really is retelling the story just quicker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a little bummed, I thought we were going to get to see it all over again, and seeing it edited down was a little sad.
Did they have a time limit purpose? Like, was this...
Well, this
has to fit into...
Yes. Yeah, because the Charity in Need has... I think it's like a variety show as well. So there's performing acts and
So they have a slot to fill.
Yeah, how long after the end of season
Parting of Ways?
Parting of the Ways, and when did this air? Like, how long had people not seen anything for Doctor Who or from Doctor Who?
Quite a while, because the Parting of the Ways aired on June 2005, and then
this was November 18th. And then
I think people also would have been sad not to see that ending scene again.
It's a good...
The regeneration, the full, not the edited down.
But was it so big in Britain that everybody who would be watching knew it well anyway? I mean, was it...
You mean the Children in Need?
No, I mean Doctor Who.
I like
Doctor
to think
Who
that
was
Doctor Who is very big over there.
Well, yes. Was it so big that it's almost like...
Doctor Who...
That was still fresh in people's minds because everybody knew it so well.
Doctor Who is kind of ingrained into the British national identity. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Like
Star Wars.
Even, both. Yeah. Maybe both. But like, even if you've never seen Star Trek or Star Wars, you know who Captain Kirk is.
And Spock, you know who Spock is.
You know who Spock is. So, Doctor Who...
those people are, Arlene?
I do know who those people are, and I've never seen it. So
Live long.
You've never seen Star Wars either?
I've seen Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one.
Well, there's actually 7. But...
No, there's 4.
There's 4. For sure.
There's 4.
It was odd for us to watch this because we've watched the Christmas Invasion. I mean, we were watching
Yes,
one of the
before we
actual
even knew
Doctor
about
Who
this.
episodes. So we saw the Christmas Invasion, and then we had to go back and watch this. So we go, oh, there's a little extra something.
Yeah, I stumbled across this like last year, not even knowing about it,
Where?
on YouTube.
I would like to say that this is on the season 2 DVD or series 2 DVD,
Yes.
not on the series 1 DVD.
Yeah.
Of
So even though it's
first.
standalone, it's kind of it's really not even a prequel because it's a special feature on the DVD.
Is it in the canon?
Yes, it is
Yes.
considered canonical.
That's why we're talking about it. if you out there were wondering.
It doesn't you can go without it, but we want to.
Yeah, you can easily go without
Yeah.
it because, like Frank was saying, we didn't know it when we just went from Parting of the Ways to the Christmas Invasion. And just to expand on that, for me at least, I don't know about you, Frank, but it did change
Definitely did for me.
and
Go ahead.
it did change. I mean, we haven't talked about Christmas Invasion yet, but that'll be our next regular episode. But just to briefly say, in Christmas Invasion, I view it as Rose is scared of the situation that's going on. Not to go into specifics. By adding this scene, Rose is kind of scared of him.
And it changes it.
And it changes it. And I don't personally like that change.
I can't remember offhand exactly what of this that the Christmas Invasion has.
None of it.
Like, well, how does Christmas Invasion start? Like, he says Barcelona,
Christmas-
and then what?
He falls down.
The Christmas Invasion opens with, well, from their point of view, they crash land in London at the
Right.
Palace States,
Oh.
and they and Mickey and Jackie. I mean, we'll talk about this in the episode, but Mickey and Jackie run up to the TARDIS. The doors open.
What do we see?
That's what we
That-
see.
That's what you're
We
saying.
see
this
that.
is what we're
Yeah.
seeing. Yeah, it isn't the first scene, but it's the first relevant to this scene, because there's like cold opening stuff. But the TARDIS crashes, the doors open. David Tennant sticks his head out and says, "Mickey, Jackie, I forgot about something. There's something." And then, "Merry Christmas." And then he faints. And Rose comes out and says, "That's him. That's the Doctor." And Jackie says, "Doctor Who?"
So in the show, aside from the special, we never see Rose's reaction to him regenerating.
Not if you
Not
skip
past
this.
Barcelona.
Yeah,
Skip this.
if you skip this, yes.
We never see what happens inside the TARDIS.
Right.
And also, we're talking about this because I don't think this is on Amazon Prime, or it
No,
was
it's
never
not.
on Netflix. It was never
That,
on
I
Hulu.
mean,
I mean, it is on YouTube, but it's bootlegged.
Yeah.
I don't think that's very. I mean, now we're commenting on the episode, but if I was to, I don't like that. I don't like how you don't see her reaction to it.
You see her. That is true.
Because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like. I agree with you.
But she's talking about her reaction to Jackie and Mickey.
Yeah, but see it, don't say it, man.
But it also changes the
I
Christmas
agree with
Invasion,
you.
and that I don't like the change.
I agree with you, but what I do like about this little bit is seeing her freak out of this man who's become her whole world now is seemingly different.
Yes,
And I disagree with you.
I know.
Okay, good.
Frank, is that why you like this little Christmas? This
No,
little
see, I think
Children in
it's-
Need
I
special?
don't think it really impacts it one way or the other. I think it's a nice little addition so we can see her reaction because we do hear about it, so we get the information already. But she's wary because as viewers, especially if we're just starting with this whole new Ninth Doctor incarnation storyline, we don't know the classic Who. You don't know what regeneration is. You don't know what it entails. So you're going...
That's true.
There's a whole nother person here, and this is what we're going to have to buy now as being the Doctor, and that's kind of what Rose is getting. And at the beginning, she's very, scared of, wait a minute, you're a Gelth. I've seen Transmats. I've seen transportation. Somebody else has
It's a
come,
trick.
And it's a, yes. And so she's grown a lot, where now she has all these other possibilities and options rather than what is the truth of a regeneration. So that's great for Rose. So she gets that, and she's apprehensive and wary and scared of, wait a minute, she finally gets, you are the Doctor. And immediately they go to, well, do you want to leave? Well, do you want me to leave? It's like, wait a minute, you're going really far in your whole, let's take time and just figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that whole exchange seems like something out of more of a drama, a sitcom.
Well, because I
No,
think
but she's
that
not
happens,
ready for it. I don't
Yeah.
see it the sitcom.
But I see that happening because early on, the 10th Doctor is he's happy. He's curious. He's like, oh, I've got a mole. This is great. How do I look? I can't wait to hear how I look. I mean, he's happy. He's like, oh, this is great. And when she says, can you change back? It kind of devastates him. It bursts his bubble. And so that's why he immediately calms down and is like, you're not excited by this.
Yeah.
And that makes things go in a little more dramatic thing.
Well, she's not excited. She didn't know this was coming or a possibility. She's just learning this and processing this. But what I like, I don't think she's really, at the beginning she's afraid of him, but she gets that, okay, you're the doctor. And when things start to go wrong and he's saying, I can't help myself, there's something wrong going on, she is on board. She's right there. She's, coming up in the next episode with the Christmas invasion, she's there telling him, no, this is the doctor. We got to figure out what's going on. But she still doesn't know exactly herself what is happening. So I don't see it as being afraid of the doctor. It is more the situation and not having the doctor to help her through this because he's incapacitated.
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah. Because the one thing that does save it for me is in the middle of his maniacal rant, he does say what you just said. He says, something's going wrong. I can't stop myself. If that line had not been in this, I wouldn't like this mini episode at all.
And I don't really like Rose, and I give her a little bit more credit here because everything was new to her from the beginning. So the doctor is something that's new and completely different. So of course he changes, and this is going to happen. I'm kind of scared right now, but I'm going to figure it out. So it's just the whole thing is just new. He's different. And this is what happens. I'm rolling with the punches.
It's kind of a, oh, great, here we go again.
Yeah.
Moment. She's progressed into that stage.
That's how I see how she's
she's not totally in charge or anything like that, but she is like, okay, we got to figure this out.
Yeah. And I can see
he's
why.
He's in trouble. We got to do something. And she's active more.
And I can see why in the next episode, because I had never seen this until much later. But that's why she's already, I'm on board. So even if with that gap, if you don't see it, then, it's where she is now. This is the kind of person she is.
And I want to know somebody who's actually watched it in order when they did see it in Britain. And, as a precursor to the Christmas invasion.
The proper episode.
Comments. So put your comments in the comment
So if you're out there.
section.
I liked that she didn't know about Captain Jack.
Yes, I like that.
Because we have to go back to Jack and figure this out.
I think that's my main thing is that they reference Captain Jack where before it's like they thought he was dead. And
no, she didn't. She didn't
no
know.
idea.
No, that's what I'm saying. They don't know. For all they think and know that he's dead. And then now to know that he's rebuilding the Earth, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, that came a little out of nowhere.
It does change
What do
things.
you mean?
But the thing is,
Hold on.
Rose knows nothing about what's going on with Jack. She left. She was
But
in
did
the
the
TARDIS.
doctor know anything that was going on with Jack?
I
We
want to
find
say
out
no.
later
I want to
whether
say
or not
What's
he
going
knows or
on with
not.
Jack?
Yeah.
We saw him die at
Yes.
the end of season
Yes,
one.
But Rose didn't.
he
We
gets
as the
shot by a
audience.
Dalek and he's dead.
Oh, but
He does the last
Rose-
stand. But Rose is gone by
doesn't
then.
know
What did she
that.
say? I give something?
I give life,
I give life.
But what did
I
she
bring
say
life.
before that? She says
I bring death, or I
bring-
give death, and I give life.
destruction. I don't know.
Wait, she says I give life, and then we see Jack
Yeah,
come back to life.
right. But then
But what is that? Is that
well, we can't talk about it
That's
yet.
like it is. So Rose from human ordinary.
Well, that was the TARDIS. That was
Rose.
the TARDIS.
From her
because she
point of view,
said she
she's like,
brings-
let's go back and get Captain Jack because he's not on the TARDIS.
See, so that's my point exactly, that it wasn't Rose that said all of that stuff. It was the TARDIS that said it.
Ooh, time. Ooh, I like it.
But the doctor,
But the doctor
would he
acts-
know
but the
because he
doctor-
absorbed that time vortex energy?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we
I
might
buy
know.
that.
We might know later.
But see, that does change things because before it was, for all they know, he's dead, and then they leave, and then now they kind of allude that he's still alive. I don't know. It's
But
different.
no one knew that he was.
They don't. They didn't know his fate.
No, they didn't. But then in this special, they mentioned that he's back rebuilding the Earth.
Tennant
doctor
says
says
that really quick in
Yeah,
the
he
middle
does-
of it.
he
In the
does
middle
that.
of his seizure,
He does
she says,
that, yeah.
"Let's go back and get Captain Jack." And he says, "Oh, he's rebuilding. He's too busy rebuilding the Earth."
To me,
Yeah,
that
I
sounded
missed
like
Yeah, he says that in
yeah.
there.
To me, it sounded like something thrown in there to like, hey, audience, remember all our fun characters? And where are they now? Just to remind you, so when we start the new season,
No, I think it's better than that. I think it is. They're referencing. It would be Rose would ask. Well, we need Captain Jack. Where is he?
I agree with that. I just don't like the response. That this
and the
changes
response
things.
is
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
But the response could be the doctor is just saying something to
I like
get her
what
mind
Oberyn
off of it.
said, personally, if he absorbed the time vortex and it was that
yeah.
energy that knows what was going on,
Well,
Knew that Jack had been resurrected.
right?
these questions and more may be answered in a future episode.
Makes me feel better because I like Captain Jack, and it makes me know that okay, he's doing something. He's okay.
So something that I just noticed watching this children's special is that when I watched the first episode, or when I watched the Christmas special, I thought that the doctor was sick or whatever was happening to him because of the regeneration. But this is showing me that he's sick because of the time vortex, or something's going wrong.
No,
Just
you're right
something
the
went-
first time. His regeneration is going wrong.
Oh, okay. So this
It's not the
special
regeneration.
showed me nothing new.
It's
Okay.
because the regeneration went wrong. He doesn't get sick every time.
Right,
Yeah,
but
I
is
think-
that because of the time vortex?
Probably. I
It
would
might be
think so.
because of the way he died.
It's the mole.
But every
That's why if you have a mole, it's
you better get it
you
checked.
should go get it checked.
no, according to
Then your
Arlene,
regeneration could go wrong.
according to Arlene, he just doesn't want to talk to Rose. But
Plain.
no doctor's regeneration has gone smoothly.
Okay.
They all they all have different degrees. Like I think the smoothest was the first doctor to the second doctor, just
'Cause they had to.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
didn't know how to do it. But
The second
one doctor actually, when he regenerated, went so insane he tried to strangle to death his companion.
So why does he
For a
say
children's show.
something's going wrong with regeneration if this is how if
'Cause he
this
doesn't
happens
know.
all the time that
Well, because there's no guarantee, so he's telling her what's actually happening. Because one time it didn't go wrong. One time it was fairly smooth. Other times it was a little weird.
Well, from Patrick Troughton to John Pertwee, he just fell out of the TARDIS, just kind of like this.
And had amnesia.
Yeah. But it's kind of like this. It's similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah, but this one is he's giving information to Rose probably for the first time. Yeah. He probably should have told her more before he changed, but he
There's
was
no time.
he was busy dying. But yeah, something's going wrong in the regeneration and he didn't know it up until that point. And when he reacted like that and Rose is showing concern, he's going to say the regeneration's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss something? What's the reference to hopping?
I think he's just getting things confused because he's newly regenerated.
I figured it was an adventure that we just didn't see.
Yeah, and I think it's also a writer's joke on the fact that, you remember the running, we were always running. And remember that one time we were hopping? I think it was a joke on, we always run. One time we hopped. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
But it's an adventure that we never saw, is what. Or it could be he's just loopy. Although she doesn't react like, I don't know what the hell you're talking
Yeah,
about.
because she would have been like, oh, yeah, that planet where we all hopped.
Yeah.
I can see Captain Jack hopping.
Maybe a sock
He would
sock
do
hop.
that just for fun. Going, we're all running. Let's hop away.
As I think Tennant will become and has become one of my favorite Doctor. I think
Doctors.
Doctors. Yeah. After watching with season 1 so close to us, though, I mean, Christopher Eccleston is still really fresh in my mind, but I do think Tennant will become, again, as we rewatch more seasons, my favorite Doctor. But it is hard seeing him here where, he doesn't
so
have
young.
much backstory yet, and he's being asked to do kind of a whole different style of acting than Eccleston ever was, like way more comedic with the hopping, with the jumping around. So I'm kind of glad I didn't see this first. Not that it would have colored, seasons of watching him, but it definitely gave Billie Piper much better opportunity to act here than Tennant was given.
She does give some good performances. Like,
Yeah.
I feel for her in this moment.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a very scary thing to see this strange person who you had just spent a whole season getting to know. And I mean, they just kissed in the...
Yeah. And then he's gone.
Yeah.
How like a man. But to expand just a little bit, I agree with what you're saying, but I also do think that that Tennant does show us a lot in this quick 7 minutes. Because yes, he is silly and he's hopping around and then he gets all crazy and maniacal. But I also love the way that he says how he his take on the line, "I'm not a Slovene."
Yeah.
There's a lot of like,
He starts to slow down.
but it's like, but it's also like he's not angry. He's just like, "I'm not a Slovene." Like, I know exactly why you're asking me that question. It's a legitimate question.
but no.
I am not a Slovene.
I do find
He
it
carries-
interesting. I'm sorry, Dave.
But then also the other thing that I really like is when he says, when he gets deflated and he's like, "Do you want me to change back? Do you want to go home?" You know,
Like he actually may lose Rose now.
and he's sad at that moment.
And that's when also too, I think it's very intimate between them. I you know, he takes her hand, he talks, you know, I feel a lot of sexual tension there, and I find it interesting that like, you know, there wasn't a lot of sexual tension between her and Eccleston, but there was a lot of intimate like love. And now there's this young man who approaches her like right in front of her, and there's that energy between them, and it's like now it's like and I think that's why there's that underlying romance between them from now on, because she basically fell in love with him without any sexual tension, and now that's allowed. And I felt like in that little scene right there when he approached her, that would have felt really awkward if Eccleston did that, but it didn't feel awkward at all with this. And I found
Do you all agree with that? Because
I can see what he's saying because like
but you've seen sexual tension between them.
yeah, but it wasn't as intimate as
I
that.
think as a female attracted to males, watching season 1, you fall in love with the Doctor, but I would have to admit that I think the 10th Doctor is more attractive physically than the 9th Doctor. And so I think that's where I feel like Josh is coming with that sexual
And I
tension.
understand that, yeah.
Is that immediately she's attracted to this new person
Right.
Physically.
and
And now
he's
it's
being very
allowed.
he's talking to her like they have this past, which they do, but in her mind they don't have that past because this is a different person. This is a different,
and she doesn't know about this process, so
right. So maybe that's where I can see that's where the sexual tension is starting, because he's coming towards Rose very intimately, whereas like she is attracted to this person, but she doesn't have that intimacy because she views it as a different person, not the same person.
But she's conflicted because she realizes
She is
it is the
attracted.
same person. So it's like, can I now have these feelings in that way with this person? I felt a lot of stuff going on there.
Arlene.
Yeah.
She already had the feelings from like the first episode. She was so flirty in the first episode when they were going to on a date, and then she kind of goes back and forth, and she tries to use Jack as like, oh, I'm trying to make you jealous. So
Yeah.
there's like, she's already like super into the Doctor.
Yeah, but he never really played into it very much.
Well, he kissed her.
That was at the end.
That was
That was when he
That was
saved
diff-
the universe.
that was sort of
for crying out
different.
loud.
That was
It
such
saved
the
the
time
Could have
vortex.
done, I'm sure he could have
But
done
yeah,
it another way because
the
he
whole-
knew that she
right.
liked him.
Yeah, but you never saw it before.
But there are times when Eccleston is, I was meant to protect her.
Yeah, and that's
And
why.
that's,
Yeah,
that's odd because it could be as a lot of guys as a boyfriend or a husband
And
I'm
then-
protecting, or is it as the father protecting?
yeah, and then it
it's-
culminates. I'm sorry.
I know it sounds icky, but we're dealing with a Time Lord who's 900, so
Well,
we gotta
yeah.
put that out there.
But the whole thing.
Yeah, but we're talking about actors.
because I think it started off a little bit more fatherly,
Yeah.
but grew and changed.
Yeah, and then
I mean, I'll be honest with you. In the early episodes, when you guys were talking about that tension, that was the first time I saw it. I didn't see it. Now, I see it now. But at the time, it just, I guess I'm like a 5-year-old kid at times. It just goes right over my head.
So what it could be is like Rose apparently did not grow up with the dad, as we all know. So it's that whole thing where she's attracted to someone who is
feeling that
fatherly.
father figure in her life.
So it's the whole everyone's psychologically messed up, and we end up dating the gaps in our lives. So kind of thing where they're trying to putting it in. I don't know. It was just weird to call it fatherly and that they have sexual tension. So let's just not put it that way.
okay, I see it as Rose being attracted to the 9th Doctor, but the 9th Doctor not reciprocating it in the same way, and that's why I said perennial. It's more of a guardian over her.
Yeah,
You know,
I was talking.
It's like
more-
It's just so
Two-way.
funny because I didn't see any real sexual tension in this.
You didn't
short.
the way he approached her and took her hand and spoke right in front of her face.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't see
wasn't a
sexual
sexual
tension. I
tension, it
saw
was-
it as more like he doesn't know boundaries kind of thing. He's more of a
and
kind
he
of
was
person that's in
yeah,
your
he
face.
doesn't know
kind of
boundaries, and he was-
courtly.
But wait, but it's not that he doesn't know boundaries.
He looked right
He's
in her
already
eyes.
established this boundary.
Yeah.
Right.
He's already inside the boundary with
Yeah.
her because
Right.
he's the doctor.
Right, but to her,
It's different.
But
Yeah.
this
of a
is how he's
stranger.
going to do it. He's going to take her hand just like he took her hand before.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's
But-
going to say, but also the way he's talking to her, he's like, all that time ago, and I just said, and there's not I don't see a sexual tension in his face. I see a spark of excitement, and I just said, run.
Yeah.
And it's not run. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, there wasn't a sexual spark there. There was if you want to go so far as to say an intimacy moment of, we have this shared history.
Yeah, like-
and I'm convincing you that this is our history, and I'm just the same.
And we're really good friends. And
yes.
that's why
Yeah.
it's okay to do this.
Yes.
So I didn't
Absolutely.
see any sexual tension in this episode. But
I mean,
if I spoke to one of my female friends that quietly and that close, they would back away from me.
You are not a 900-year-old Time Lord that just regenerated.
but I will say that the sexual
Even if I
tension
chewed
is
some
built
gum.
later on. Like we work up to that sexual tension
yeah.
later on.
Yes.
And maybe it's the hindsight that we kind of are projecting it on this thing that sort of new.
I think it's there. I mean, I do think that
Yeah.
it was intentional, in the writing, but it was they weren't being overt with it.
right. So let us know what you think. I think we're at an
Everybody
impasse
know that
here.
They agree with me.
But I also like how we know who Tennant's doctor is right away, which is sad to say we don't know who some of the newer doctors are right away.
Yes.
You really have that chip on your shoulder about that, don't you?
What?
And I guess we've just blown the timeline all to because we're talking a lot about future seasons.
Yeah, but we're not being specific, so it's not really
No, I
that
know.
spoilery.
Well, I will say,
But yeah, we do. Sorry, but we do. We
know who he
I
is
think
right
Tennant
away.
nailed the
Yeah.
doctor right away.
And that's hard to do.
Yeah. Well, when
Yeah.
I didn't see this at first, and so I saw the Christmas special, and then he started to wake up, and I was very put off because he was so different and goofy. But if I saw this originally, I probably would have been really annoyed by him. But now knowing who he is and liking who he ended up being, seeing this now, like, oh yeah, that's the 10th Doctor. So it's hard to judge this with a fresh eye because he's being who he's going to be, whereas he was brand new to whoever saw it first.
completely
So,
agree.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. Yeah, we know
Finally,
this doctor.
somebody gives me about something.
Well, we know this doctor, and we're excited. And watching this little 7-minute special makes me excited to rewatch season 2. I'm ready.
absolutely.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
One quick little thing that we looked it up, and Tennant is 7 years younger than Eccleston.
For the say that Billy Piper. I was like, what?
It's all right. Yes, we have a fetus now as a doctor.
Right.
So,
With all
by the
this
way,
talk that you had about fatherly, and it's
Yeah,
it's
well-
only 7 years. It's not that.
Well, 7 years when you're in your 20s
Depending.
and 30s is, makes a difference.
okay, so that is the Children in Need mini episode of Doctor Who. We will.
Would you introduce this
Say it.
to a new Who
Would you
viewer?
use this to introduce the new Who viewer to David Tennant? New Who viewer.
Oh my goodness! Come on, guys.
I'm making up words now.
No.
Would we use
I'm
it?
wondering. It's like
you know what?
I mean, I thought it was a
It's
kind of a
quick.
joke question
do
that we
it.
had.
Yeah,
but
we should
it's
do
a
it.
quick one that says the character
Okay.
regenerates,
Starting fresh.
and
But
this is
Eugene
who
has
the
to
new
make
person
check marks.
is.
Do you have a pen?
I didn't even think about that as a serious question before.
But not to introduce them to the series,
Yeah,
but
But
to
to
David
Tennant?
Tennant. But to Tennant.
So would
As
we?
opposed to like a whole
so would we
episode. Would you just
choose
show them this?
the Children in Need special to introduce Tennant to a new Who viewer?
Before the Christmas invasion.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Wait, a new Who viewer who had not seen the
Okay, so maybe
Ninth
not.
Doctor?
No. Yeah, I don't know. It's,
But introduce him into
wait.
Doctor Who.
I will just say,
This question
I
has
would
holes.
show someone this 7-minute thing who had never seen any Doctor Who before. I would.
Yes. Okay. That's a yes for Josh.
And who didn't hear about Doctor Who.
Correct.
Because they're not into
Sure,
the
but
science
I
fiction.
wouldn't
They're not
then
into the shows that we are. This is the premise of it.
Right.
There is a Time Lord. They can change.
I wouldn't then show them season 1.
Because they're not going to. Because some people I know will not watch a whole season. Will not watch a whole episode. And it's like, oh, here, watch this little 7-minute. You get the idea, then you get some of the tension. Oh, this may be better. No, I'm looking at. Everybody's looking at me.
Arlene?
No.
I think I would. Thinking of it that way, because I do know some people who would not sit and watch the whole thing. It would take away from that disappointment of a doctor regenerating. And then the Daleks are there, so you know that they're going to be there. They're not some weird robot thing that
Looks like a
doesn't.
pepper pot.
Yeah, that doesn't even seem like a crazy villain. So it kind of just introduces the whole storyline. So I'm okay with that.
Key hops.
Especially if there are some Tennant episodes that you think could be for a first-time viewer. This would be a good way to start. In addition to that, so I say yes.
Could make them curious.
Okay, but if it's the way Kelsey said, which was to introduce David Tennant. So I'm going to take it.
no, I take that back. No, the question is, would you use this to introduce to a new Who viewer?
There you go. Somebody got it.
No.
You choose such a hard name to say.
And I also say no. I think that this 7
Why'd
minute.
you bring it up?
I think that's the question. I think this 7-minute special is for the fans.
The question is Doctor Who.
And it's additional thing for the fans. I think that if I showed this to someone who didn't know Doctor Who, they would be like, I don't want to watch this. Why are you showing me this? Thank you. Now I never have to watch this series, and that would be sad. So I'm going to say no. Don't show this to a new Who viewer.
Yeah, what she said.
You know, it may be interesting if you were able to introduce somebody with David Tennant or Eccleston, and then a quick way to get them to the other Doctor without having to watch more. Like if you introduce them with a David Tennant episode, you could show them this little piece to show, hey, this is what happens with the Doctor. You know, he regenerates. He's not always the same. And then you could show them like a Eccleston episode, because I know that is confusing for a lot of people who haven't seen it before. Like, why are there different doctors? And this does do a pretty good job of like explaining that and showing it really quickly, like what happens. But as a first, like virgin territory, no Doctor Who at all, I would say no.
I'm pretty sure this actually happened. Some people saw this and had never seen any Doctor Who. There had to
There
be.
had to
Like,
have been.
found
Oh
it on
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people
or
watching.
watch the special.
They're watching the special.
You're watching like Jerry Lewis, and then this comes on. You know,
Right.
Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So
For me, I would say no.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not complicated.
What did you say? Did you say yes or no?
I surprised myself by saying yes.
I surprised myself and said yes too. So
So it's three yeses and 4 nos.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So that's our take on the Children in Need special, which, by the way, is sort of officially its name. It doesn't have a specific title.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it was the first one.
Yeah. And if you notice on the main credits, there's no title listed. It's just Doctor Who.
And I guess this started the tradition of like smaller episodes
Yeah.
coming forward.
Oh, really?
And-
I
yeah.
guess so. I
Yeah.
guess so.
And we're going to do these little quick trips in the TARDIS when necessary. Probably won't do them for every mini-sode because some of them are only 15 seconds long. So,
Maybe we'll group
Yeah.
a bunch together.
yeah, maybe, or we'll just mention them in the specific episode that
That they
they're
correlate with.
prequeling. But there are some really good ones in the future, some of them that are even better than the Children in Need special. So thanks for listening, and we will see all of you when the future becomes Eugene.
You've just listened to an episode of Who Knew?
Our wonderful theme music is by Michael Grady. You can find his work at theuniverseexplodes.com.
You can find this show in several places. Follow us on Twitter at Who Knew Podcast. Subscribe, review, and listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher, or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/whoknewpodcast.
All our episodes are on whoknewpodcast.com. You can leave comments there or email us at whoknewpodcast@gmail.com.
This podcast is inspired by Doctor Who, the longest running sci-fi show in history, and especially the revival spearheaded by Russell T. Davis.
Thanks to Russell, Sidney Newman, Verity Lambert, Ron Grainer, and all of those involved in the adventures of our favorite Time Lord. Your work continues to inspire and entertain.